So we have Universe 3 versus Universe 7 this week, and my oh my, this episode was fun. Regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of how you feel about pacing, power scaling, I don't care right now. I don't want to actually hear that, because honestly, personally to me, this episode, I had a blast watching. It was really fun sitting down watching this episode, seeing Gohan go up against, Universe 3, seeing, Goku and Vegeta coming in for that save, seeing how they both blasted, Gallic Gun and Kamehameha just for Gohan could charge up his Kamehameha and attack the robot. Just overall, I loved this episode, especially the android scene with 17 and 18. There were so many good moments, and so, you know what, I don't care. I know there was some things with this episode that wasn't the best, I admit that. However, I think at the end of the day, I'm willing to look past that and just say, I enjoyed this episode. It was hella fun. So anyways, to get right into it, I want to talk about that Vegeta moment. Now, I'm talking about the moment to where Vegeta had a smug look on his face when Gohan decided to go up against the robot. Vegeta had a smug smile towards Gohan. I'm like, this man did he just smile at Gohan? I'm like, yo, like, it made me start thinking, like, it does make a lot of sense why Vegeta would do that, because we gotta think about the interactions between Gohan and Vegeta since the very beginning in the early days of Dragon Ball Z. A long time ago. Let's just back up, okay? Let's just back up down memory lane and go back to the origin of Dragon Ball Z when Vegeta was first introduced, and Gohan. Gohan, as we know, he always had this great potential. He always had this potential to be a very strong character. And we saw this displayed multiple times throughout the entirety of Dragon Ball Z. It was a big crucial plot point for many arcs throughout the series. And when Vegeta was first introduced, Vegeta tried to kill Gohan, obviously, many times, like twice over. And, Gohan still decided to stand up to Vegeta, especially at the Namek Saga, when he stood up to Vegeta and all that, and Vegeta just, punched him real quick. That entire segment, you could kind of see, like, it showed that Gohan had a spine, a backbone to stand up against someone that obviously was superior, and I think Vegeta in that moment really respected that. But then once all that was done, though, we move over later on into the Android Saga, the Cell Saga, and Gohan grew exponentially. This man got this power up to where he unlocked his potential. He was able to fight against Cell. He surpassed Goku and Vegeta, and I think at that moment, that's when Vegeta's overall perspective on Gohan started to shift a little bit over time. Once he saw Gohan go up against, Cell and beat the crap out of him, and eventually we shift over many years down the road to when Gohan now is, going into high school and all that, and college, and then you have it to where eventually Gohan moves over to fight Buu. We have these certain scenes with Vegeta when he talks about Gohan. Let's talk about the beginning of the Buu Saga, or, when all of it began. Vegeta talks to Gohan's like, you've let yourself grow weak and all that. A long time ago, this would have been easy for you. You would have been able to defeat the Boro or whatever. That's what he said to Gohan, and it was showing that Gohan wasn't keeping up with training, and it shows that Vegeta was holding Gohan at a certain level, expectations, and Gohan wasn't necessarily doing that at that time. Eventually, some time passed, and when we had to where Gohan decided to, go up against Buu, Buu beat the crap out of him, won against him, and eventually Vegeta found out about this, and then we noticed in that moment before Vegeta sacrificed himself and did his final atonement, which was one of the best scenes of the series, personally to me. He also thought about Gohan. He didn't just think about Goku, he didn't just think about Bulma and Trunks, he thought about Gohan as well, and he realized how powerful this enemy must be to take down someone like Gohan that is always powered up and stood up to the challenge when anyone comes to face him when people's lives are at risk. Vegeta even knew this. He was fully aware of this, and so for him to realize that, it shows how much respect or faith he had in Gohan. And then more time passed, and we saw Gohan get his power up. He became, Ultimate Gohan, fighting Super Buu and all that. So, you've always seen to where Vegeta's held Gohan in a high level of praise. Ever since the Namek Saga, we have slowly seen a trend to where he's started to gain a little bit more faith or pride into Gohan, and we've seen that constantly. And we see it even more now in Dragon Ball Super, and especially in this episode, when Vegeta just decides to smile smugly at Gohan when he actually decides to go Ultimate form and go up against, the robots that have fused together. I'm like, that is really cool to see from Vegeta. I know not many are probably going to care about that. I know many are probably not even going to give a crap about what I just said when it came to me talking about Vegeta's relationship with Gohan, but these two characters are like some of my favorite characters of the entirety of Dragon Ball. I love Vegeta. I told you right now, I know I'm biased and all that, but I love Vegeta. He's one of my favorites. And then Gohan as well. I've always held him in high regard ever since, like, you know, early days of Dragon Ball. I've always loved him and his potential, how he stood up in certain given moments, how he went up against Frieza, how he went up against the Ginyu Force, how he went up against, you know, the androids, all of that. I've always loved Gohan. And seeing these two characters have this, like, history, it just kind of really makes me think about, you know, the path, the journey of this series, and how much these characters have grown and changed over the many years I've been watching this series. It just makes me smile deep inside. And like I said, I know many might not care about this little segment of the episode or whatever, but personally to me, it made me smile. So anyways, moving on past that though, Gohan, he goes up against this robot, Fusion. I don't know the exact name, forgive me. But basically, he goes up against them from Universe 3, and he puts up a really decent fight. Gohan did really well. I mean, obviously Vegeta and Goku had to pop in and save him, but it makes a lot of sense. Goku and Vegeta, they are stronger at the end of the day. Super Saiyan Blue is obviously stronger than Ultimate Gohan. That's just a given. Even though I'm a Gohan fan, I'm willing to admit that. And so, it's obvious that they had to come in and fight, and they helped out Gohan overall, caused an opening for he could get them off the ring. But before that happened, I want to talk about that moment with Goku and Vegeta's combo with their Ki Blast, okay? We've already seen this a couple of times recently, but it's just something I want to take note of because it's a rarity, but it also shows that Goku and Vegeta are starting to work together a little bit more than normal. For instance, we see how they use the Gallic Gun and Kamehameha together. It fuses together, and they fight back against, you know, the Ki Wave or Ki Blast that's coming at them, and I was like, yo, that's really cool, just seeing these two work together, because in a way, when you look at it, it's kind of like they're becoming Vegito in that moment. Even though their bodies are not one, it's like they're being Vegito, like a certain part of Vegeta. They're working with their blasts together to be able to take down an opponent, and I was like, that's cool. It's just really cool. I mean, as a fan of Vegeta as well, I'm just like, I like seeing stuff like that. I like seeing Vegeta and Goku working together with their Ki Blast, trying to take down an opponent. So, besides fanboying, trying to push fanboy aside, I'm sorry, I'm just getting into it. I'm just really enjoying this episode and all that. Let's talk about the Frieza stuff. So, Frieza, okay, there's something that needs to be talked about. The elephant in the room when it comes to the Tournament of Power, okay? Frieza, obviously, is very vital for the endgame of this arc, okay? It's common sense. Frieza, out of all of the cast, okay, from Universe 7, if we think about it, just take a moment to think about this, okay? Hear me out. Out of all of the cast of Universe 7, he has probably had the least amount of screen time. And it's not just because, like, oh, they want to focus on the other characters, the good guys. Frieza is a very iconic and important character for the entirety of Dragon Ball. Also, the way they built Frieza up when the Tournament of Power first began to, you know, res Frieza back, there was a lot of build-up right there. There was a lot of build-up between that. And then how Frieza's been acting throughout the Tournament of Power, there's just something that feels very off to me. Frieza has had the least amount of screen time, and if we think about it, he has had the least amount of fights. He's literally just been sitting on top of the hilltop, watching everybody, and just doing laughs, like, ho, 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 like, stuff like that. Just literally laughing for episodes since the Tournament of Power began. He only has a few moments he fights, like Frost, for instance, but overall, he doesn't have that many fights that really strain him or tire him out. So when we look at this, Frieza has had the least amount of screen time, the least amount of fights, and it seems like he's overall saving his strength for the end game of the Tournament of Power, which I'm very curious about. I'm very curious on why he's doing that, because we know for a fact Frieza has a bigger plan. We know for a fact he doesn't really care about Goku anymore, or, you know, Vegeta or anything. He's pushed on to greater endeavors. He no longer cares about his petty grudge with Goku. He may dislike him, he may not like Goku, he may look at Goku as a nemesis, but he no longer holds that grudge anymore. He's looking at something much bigger. For instance, Zeno, looking at the gods, all of that. That's who he's looking at now. He no longer cares about that, so it makes me wonder, what is his purpose in this? Because with the next episode preview, you see Frieza actually having to fight, and it makes me wonder how far is he going to have to go in that fight? Is he going to have to go, you know, Golden Frieza to be able to fight, or is he going to conserve his energy, still kind of stay in the back lines, always shoot blasts when he needs to, and that's basically it? Because I noticed Frieza has been playing a very, very long-term game. He's playing the long game to where he saves energy and then he fights at the end, because we do know one of the big things that's been a reoccurring thing of the Tournament of Power, at least for Universe 7, is that they have to, constantly, wait and, try to conserve energy, stamina. And that's been a big thing. And so, it makes me wonder if Frieza's conserving stamina, for he could literally just team wipe everybody. For instance, he can completely wipe his own team once everything is said and done, for he could get his wish or his goal or whatever he wants. I could see something like that. I could definitely see Frieza pulling something crusty like that at the end. Once, Universe 11 is defeated, you have to where he comes in, he just wipes Goku out and all that, Vegeta out, and then he just stands on top and he gets his wish. I could see that. I could definitely see Frieza pulling something like that, because that would fit his character. So I just want to point that out. I wonder how long it's going to be until Frieza initiates whatever he wants to do. But for now, though, I'm loving the man just sitting there on his hilltop doing ho ho ho, just laughing all that. It just makes me smile. So anyways, getting past that, though, let's talk about the androids. Androids 17 and 18. So I saw the next episode preview, and judging by the way it's going, it seems like one of the androids are going to be knocked out. 18, to be exact. And I'm going to assume it's going to happen, because when we think about it, it's just a matter of time until they're knocked out. I mean, the only ones that most likely are going to remain at the end is going to be either Goku and Vegeta, or Goku and Frieza, or Goku and Gohan. That's the only people that are probably going to be remaining at the end of this fight. So, it's obvious that the androids are going to be knocked off next. It's common sense. And it seems like maybe Android 18 and maybe even 17 could possibly be knocked out next episode. And I'm honestly fine with that. And the reason why is because when I think about the Tournament of Power, the androids have had a lot of time to shine. They've had some really good moments, a lot of spotlight, and I am happy that Toei has done that, because the androids, as I've said many times, I love the androids because of the movie. The History of Trunks movie. I loved them. I loved how they worked together, how they were super crusty to Gohan, future Gohan, and all that. I loved that. I loved their characters because of that, and I loved how we had constant callbacks and stuff to certain scenes throughout the History of Trunks, or stuff from the Android Saga and Dragon Ball Z. And so, if they do get eliminated, I'm not upset with that. It's just, like, I think they've had a lot of time to shine. I mean, they've had a lot of good moments, especially even in this episode, when they were going up against, Viara, or whatever, how you say his name. They were going up against him and all that, and he was trying to defend, and, they were constantly just, hitting him with ki blasts. He couldn't do anything, and it basically just shows that the androids never run out of stamina. They don't tire down, which I love that. I love that concept. I'm glad that Toei has not forgot about that concept of the androids, because that was one of the big things that made them scary in Dragon Ball Z, is that they just never tire out. They have infinite ki, infinite energy. They will never get tired down. So I love that. And so I'm glad that that was a big concept here, and how they were able to keep up for so long. So if they do get eliminated, I'm not really that upset with it. I think they've had a good run, and so I'll carry on and move on with that. So anyways, I guess that's about it. Episode overall was a really good episode. I think everybody can agree that this week's episode, Dragon Ball Super, was good. And if you don't like it, well, everybody has an opinion, understandable. And, I mean, I know why some might not like this, because, I mean, some of the scenes felt a little bit weird of how, like, the androids weren't helping out Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan. I can understand that, but at the same time, though, we gotta remember that these fights were going on at the same time. Anything else left to mention? I'm trying to think. Oh, yes, the Beerus scene. So, Beerus actually called Gohan instead of Kid. So, it shows that he didn't just earn respect for Master Roshi, he earned respect for Gohan. So, like that. I like how Beerus is kind of gaining a little bit more connection with the characters, like our main cast of characters, because he's always been with, Goku and Vegeta and Bulma and stuff, but he's never really been with the others. And I like how he's starting to call them by their names. Like, he's calling them Old Man, or he's calling them Kid, and now he's gaining respect for them and calling them, like, Gohan, or calling them Master Roshi. Like that stuff, because it just shows that Beerus is slowly growing attached to his universe, the people in his universe, and it just makes us appreciate his character a little bit more. He's warming up to them. So I want to end it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below if you enjoyed this episode. If you like my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you want to get notified for when I upload a video, please hit the, bell icon next to the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot. And FYI, if you don't care to get notified for when I upload, at the very least, click the bell icon for the YouTubers you do care about. It will help them out a lot. So love you guys. Happy holidays. Chibi out.